On today's podcast, we're going to talk about how to elevate that patient experience, how small talk can really go a long ways. Whether you're an awkward OD, a seasoned OD, or if you're an extrovert and you just like to run your mouth. Either way, we're going to have a conversation about how we can use our previous experiences in life to elevate that patient experience. On today's podcast, we have the one and only Dr. Rachel Simpson. Let's go.
This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover, back with another amazing episode. This episode is going to blow your mind because the OD that I have on this show has done some amazing things, and she's going to really dive deep into her life experiences and share them with you. Now, at times, she told me straight up she could be a little awkward when it comes to being an OD, but I don't buy that because her background is incredible and amazing. Friends and family, I'd like to welcome one of my colleagues, one of my fellow podcasters, Dr. Rachel Simpson. How are you doing today, my friend?
I couldn't be better. That intro was unbelievable. My heart is like full. I feel like the Grinch at the end of the movie. It was amazing.
Too kind. Well, hey, check it out. I'm super excited to have you on the show. You know, you've done so much in eye care, and I just want to really unpack your journey, but I also want to have, some very important conversations about how to be successful in that exam lane when it comes to communicating with patients, because I know we all kind of get lost in the sauce with that at times. And then sometimes we just get on autopilot and we're not, the person that we need to be in that exam lane. But I think between our two brains, we can come up with some ideas to help to elevate that experience. But before we get started, you got to tell me, Rachel, how did you get into eye care? How did you get into optometry? Share the story if you don't mind, my friend.
Happy to. Okay. So I was originally like a theater major the first time I went to college. And after school, I decided I wanted to do theater. So I moved to New York and I was doing plays. I would sometimes do tours, but a lot of the time I was waiting tables. So a ton of my experience is like in the service industry. And I had been doing that for probably 8 years. And I was like, feeling like not quite fulfilled. Like I have, when they do the strengths quest thing and it's like, this is your strength and this is your strength. One of my strengths is like achiever and I need to feel like I'm successful. And I just didn't feel that way. And when people would be like, what do you do? I'd be like, I'm an actress. And I didn't feel super proud about it. But at my restaurant job, I was like, I had a little bit of extra responsibility. So I was like, when I would say, oh, I run a Hudson River cruise and I'm like a singing waitress, I kind of felt a little better about having like a little extra responsibility. So I was thinking like, maybe I could have like a real grown-up job. So I went to get an eye exam when I was 30 and I thought, oh, I feel like I could do this. I feel like I mean, there's things to it that are kind of like acting. And so I then took the next 10 years and pursued like the hardest thing that my brain is capable of doing. I really feel like optometry is the max of my potential. I don't feel like I can think at the end of the day. My brain is like fully maxed out. So I feel good about it. But yeah, that's how I got to optometry.
Well, you know what? I agree with you 100%. When I leave the office, the clinic at the end of the day, it's not even that I'm just physically tired, but I'm mentally tired. I always tell my wife, the conversations that I have in the exam lane are just mind-blowing. And the thing is, we fix problems. We find solutions. So people come to us with problems every single day, maybe 3 to 4 an hour, right? And hours. So when you think about that, that's a lot to take on for our mental health, but also just, how we feel in general, right? So I align with you 100%. Now, Rachel, we gotta circle back. This whole actress, right? You got to share a little bit more, like maybe share some of the work you've done or what that experience is like, because I am very intrigued by that, because I think that is truly a good foundation for becoming an optometrist. Actually, I agree with you when you mentioned that too. So kind of walk me through what that whole scenario picture looks like.
Okay, so when you are like a young actor in like New York, let's say, and you want to do theater, when I started, I was like getting a newspaper and looking up auditions. But now I'm sure you would go online and you would look up auditions, and then you would go, you got a gigantic bag of all your gear, and you wait in a really long line with people, and then you have like less than a minute to like sing part of a song and then perform part of a monologue, and then you never hear from anybody.
Oh,
Or
wow.
you get a phone call and they say, we want to see you again. But mainly you're just performing into like the ether, and you either get a call or you don't get a call. And sometimes you do get a call. And when that happens, you do it all again. And maybe like you learn a script and you perform that script with other people. And eventually, if you stick with it long enough, you'll book something and then you do that play. And like my favorite stuff to book was when I was working with a playwright who was like writing their play. So like
Okay.
maybe they were casting for the original reading. And this is actually the coolest thing when I think about it that I did. Do you know the movie The Whale that came out like a couple of years ago, and Brendan Fraser won the Academy Award for it?
I am the worst person to ask any kind
No,
of
that's okay. That's okay.
shows.
I actually haven't really talked about this.
I'm the worst person to even watch TV shows with. So this is how my wife and I chill, right?
Okay.
Every day after work, we put the kids down, and then she likes to watch TV, mainly reality TV trash. But we watch,
Me too.
different shows that have good, concepts and themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I am that person that I'm always just like kind of here or there, and she has to tell me what's going on, because she said, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" I'm like, "Did I see what?" She said, "You don't remember
Who
that
is
part?"
that person?
So, and this is the worst part. Being that I'm not paying attention, she makes me rewind the show back to that part, and we have to watch it. And sometimes, Rachel, we're watching segments over and over and over and over, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, and we gotta catch up later about this reality TV trash, because I can probably tell you a lot about that.
Okay, because that's like my secret love is reality TV, but it's very specific. Okay, anyway, Brendan Fraser was in this movie a couple of years ago called The Whale, and he won an Academy Award for it. I was in the original reading for that play.
Wow.
Yeah, so like it's cool when you see that. Doesn't happen very often, but like when you're working with a playwright right at the beginning, you can kind of like help them to see what the character could be. And then by the time it becomes a movie, you're 43 years old, and the character that you played is being played by a girl from Stranger Things. So like
hey, that's awesome. I mean,
it's
that's
pretty cool
right there, That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So that was my favorite stuff to do. But sometimes like I would do tours of like shows for kids. So like you're in a van basically, and you've got the set in the back of the van, and you go to like a local theater and you set up the set, and then you do the play, and then you break down the set and you get back in the van and you're going to a different state. It was just really cool. But it didn't feel like I was developing like a life. So that's when I decided I was like, let's try something else.
Well, I think it's amazing. Number one, right? Low key, something that I've always wanted to do was act, right?
I bet you'd be great at it.
Well, thank you. Maybe one of these days we'll make it happen, right?
Yeah.
But I do honestly think, and you mentioned this earlier, that as optometrists, we are all actors, right? Simply because when we walk into that exam lane, we have to really adapt to the person that's sitting in front of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to speak their language, speak the way that they're, talk the way they communicate, and understand who they are. Sometimes get into character to build trust with them, right? So I'm a firm believer that our past actually impacts how effective we are in that exam lane. I'll give you a personal example with myself. When my first legal job, because before that I was picking up hair in the barbershop and making flyers, and that was before the age of 14. But my first legal job was Chick-fil-A. And I worked there for 4 years. And at that time, I swear that I was going to own a Chick-fil-A. But the thing that I learned was, great customer service, how to communicate with the customers that were in front of me, how to be structured, how to clean my surround, like all of that stuff. And it made a world of difference. And as I got older, I held numerous retail jobs. And that helped me to understand how to sell or prescribe from the chair with my patients. So it's like all those previous experiences help with the small talk in that exam lane for me. And I can see that probably was very effective for you as an optometrist today when you're in there having communication with them as well. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how I feel in regards to it.
So how I feel like what it really serves me is like when I've already reviewed the pre-testing and I've seen their optos and I know what's wrong with them, I'm acting like I don't. I'm letting them still give me the information so I don't like get pigeonholed. So I'm like, I am performing, but it's the small talk that gets me. I just can be so unbelievably awkward. I just don't know why. I don't have that gene. I don't have the like, how is your day today, gene? And like, I want to brainstorm with you because like, I feel like since you're good at this, you can maybe help me because there's a secret to it. Like you want to get to know something about them and like be able to recall it in the future, but you don't want to touch on anything hot, like anything that'll drive it down the wrong path. And you also don't want to make it take too long because I got 15 minutes and you got to be out of here.
Yeah.
So,
So there's so much to unpack with that, right? And I appreciate you being candid about being the awkward OD. I'm probably going to run my mouth too much OD. So, together we will be successful, right? So we're going to make it happen. So yeah, let's spend some time on that, right? Because when it comes to elevating that patient experience, it's all about building trust. And the only way you can build trust is by communicating with the patient and allowing them to understand that you're there for them, right? So for me, I think it's very important to be able to communicate strongly with the patient and have that small talk in the exam room by leveraging your team, right? That front desk person should be having a conversation that is very valuable that they can pass to their technician. And that technician should be having a strong conversation with that patient that they can share that information with the optometrist. And to your point, prior to walking into that exam room, they should be able to review everything that they've learned about that patient. So when you walk into that exam room, now it's action. You can actually start a conversation. I have a rule that I call, or a drill that I call the 2-minute drill. And essentially for the first 2 minutes I'm in that exam lane, I truly just get to know my patient. So if my technician's telling me that, oh, this patient is going to the mountains this weekend and they're going to stay there until Monday, and they're going with their kids and they're very excited, it's an annual trip that they make, then already I got all these talking points in my head of how we're going to start that conversation. So it's kind of like we're just bouncing from A, B to C, seeing me, and then I kind of build off of that conversation. And once I get that small talk going, I may, bring up something as simple as, okay, so what cabin are you staying in? Or what's your favorite thing to do out there? Or if I've traveled there, then I may give a recommendation. But the main thing I'm doing is really showing interest in what they're doing and what they love and what they're excited about. And then a conversation just starts organically from there. And the cool part about that is when it comes to the end of that conversation, it's easier to prescribe solutions for that patient. Remember, I just stated they go to the mountains, they're having fun, they're going to be out there for the weekend, they got their kids. Automatically from that conversation, I already know I need to prescribe sunglasses. I know that I need to talk to them about artificial tears because their eyes are going to be dry from driving from A to B. I know that they have kids, and I know that they need to bring them back for a routine eye exam if I haven't seen them yet. So all of that can be done within a couple of minutes if you actually leverage your entire team correctly. That's just my 2 cents.
That is so good. I'm going to do that because I know my front desk people are chatty, but I don't think we're empowering them to actually do that. I think they're just like, well, Dr. Simpson needs me to get this history, and they're doing that. I think they'd love to have a combo and just pass it on to me.
Well, they should be an extension of you, right? Everyone in my office should be an extension of me. They should reflect who I am as a doctor, right?
Yeah.
And I love, also I do this, and sometimes it can turn into a hot ass mess, but I like to go up front and I like to talk to my patients when they're checking in. But the problem with that is if you have another patient that's there and they may say, hey, Dr. Glover, how you doing? And they want to have a 10-minute conversation, you got to get back and you can't just cut them off. Or the opposite could happen. You could go up there and there may be a problem wrong with their glasses or contact lens, and then that's another 10 minutes. So you have to be careful with that. But it is very important to make sure that your team members are extensions of who you are as a doctor, because you want to set that theme up when they come into the practice.
That is so good. I'm going to do that. So what I have been doing that's kind of working well, and it was working great during the pandemic, is like, how's work? Are you guys hiring? Because I can kind of like, I have a lot of patients who are looking for jobs, and it's like kind of like a matchmaking thing, but that doesn't get me any closer to prescribing anything. So your method is better. Also, another one I go to, and this is dumb. Are those shoes comfortable? Because people will talk for the exact right amount of time with that. That doesn't get you anywhere. So yours is way better.
No,
but
I like that. I mean, because so this is another tip, right? For that small talk. Are your shoes comfortable? What are you wearing?
Yeah. Those are cute.
Jimmy Choos. Oh, guess what? When you're done with that exam, think about that brand, because we actually carry Jimmy Choo up front. So let me show you some of those frames, right? So
watch the master work. That was unbelievable.
So it's like you can take all these little tips from people and be able to accommodate their needs by just understanding their brands that they're wearing or what their loves and things like that are, essentially, right? So it's very important to always make sure that you're locked into that patient that's sitting in front of you. Always focus on that person, put them on a pedestal, and you'll be amazed the information that you can grab from these people that are in front of you.
You've helped me, and I know you're going to help other people, because you got to do all of the things you just said.
But I mean, it doesn't start with the shoes. I mean, it could be shoes, it could be a watch, it could be bags, it could be, clothing articles. There's so many different things that you could do. But the key thing is just really understanding their lifestyle and who they are, and just really having a conversation. Another piece that I use, and I know not everyone's a big fan of this, but for me, it's worked out tremendously, is social media, right? I get a lot of patients that come into my practice because of my social media. When they look at my social media, they see a handful of things. Number one, they see that I love food, right? Number two, they see that I love to travel. Number three, they see that I love my family and my kids. Number four, they see that I'm a man of faith, right? And then number five, they just actually see that with all of that going on, I'm also an optometrist. So a lot of times what will happen is someone will find me online because of the algorithms, or maybe someone's stalking me, I don't know. And they'll show up to my practice and they're like, hey, Dr. Glover, I found you because of your social media. I see that you love to eat at so-and-so. That's my favorite place. So again, that small talk has already started before that patient even walks in. But most importantly, I've already built trust with that patient. They trust me because they see themselves in me. We have something of common interest. And as a result of that, it's allowing me to be able to have better small talk and prescribe the right solutions for those patients, because they're now telling me more. So there is power in social media if you use it the right way. That's great. Do you ever talk to them about reality TV? I do. Okay. What are your shows? So I love, my wife and I love Married at First Sight. Yes. That's a big one, right? So good. Married to Medicine, which is another great one. My wife watches, Housewives. So every now and then I tap into those. And then there's another one called Married in Huntsville, which is pure trash, but it's crazy and we love it, right? So I have patients that come in and literally 90% of the exam is talking about those reality TV shows, right? And 10% is the exam, right? Yeah. And honestly, a lot of times that's what it should be, right? We all know what's going on with the patient before we even walk in, right? Yeah. We know how to solve the problem for those patients. But the thing that we really need to solve is making them feel comfortable. So that small talk, as you had mentioned, whether it's reality TV shows, interest in foods, or whatever, is key, right? But what are your shows that you love? Oh, I don't even think I could talk about this one with patients. Sister Wives. It's my go-to. I love that show. And I've loved it for like 19 seasons. It's an illness. Wow. I know. Okay. But I also love Survivor. You can talk about Survivor. My wife watches all of those. And like, especially now there's these new shows on Netflix where I saw one she was watching where they're in one room and they can't see the other person, but they're having conversations through a wall. Love is Blind. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Get
Yeah.
in it. You would love it. If you like Married at First Sight, you would love Love is Blind.
She said the last season was pretty good. Apparently, it was a lot of chaos that was taking place on that show.
It's so dramatic. It's so much more dramatic than Married at First Sight because it's like Married at First Sight. You're coming in with good faith. You actually kind of want this to work out. Love is Blind. Some of these people are just like, well, I want to stay in a hotel for a week. It's like not the right intentions.
Yeah, but I love that, there's so many different things that we can tap into with our patients. And I think you should really tap into reality TV. You may be shocked how many people actually like those things, right?
Yeah.
And it could just be a simple conversation of when you walk into the exam room now, what is your favorite thing to do? Or what are you watching on TV right now? I need a new show, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of see which direction they're going. They may be someone that likes purely sports. They may be someone that likes reality TV. But if they lock into that reality TV, that's your lane and you can run with it. If it's not, then the question is to ask more questions, right? So, tell me about that. I've never heard of that. And then when they start talking about something they love, again, they just open up the door to all types of information about who they are, how they use their eyes, how they move around the world. And it makes it easier for you to prescribe a solution for them. So if they love TV, the next question is, or reality TV shows, or just, media in general, the next question is to prescribe is, do you watch this on your cell phone? Do you watch this on your iPad? Do you watch this on your television? Now, if they're watching this on their iPad or their cell phone, you need computer glasses. You
are too good at this.
You need anti-reflective coating, right? So it's like, all I'm doing is finding solutions to accommodate their lifestyle more than anything. And it's all just revolved around what the patients are telling me. And once you start to make that connection of what their problem is and how you're connecting a solution with it, it elevates that experience and you have a patient for the rest of your life. People think, Rachel, I came up with this concept of everyone's favorite optometrist, but I didn't. It was my patients. I just took what they labeled me as and brought it to the industry of eye care, right? So I actually have a course that I teach where it's how to become everyone's favorite optometrist, right? And it's really diving into some of these things that we're touching on right now because small talk is huge, as you could tell.
So good. I was going to say, this is like a 2-hour workshop at optometrist meeting, ready to go. I'd sign up.
So let me, turn the table to you, right? So you mentioned you're an awkward OD sometimes with these small conversations. I know you touched on a couple things, but how did you get through that while you were in school, right? Because I know there are a lot of students out there that may be experiencing the same thing. And I know you do a lot of work with new graduates and students and empowering them in all kinds of ways. But I'm curious to know, how did you tackle that obstacle? Because there's someone listening to this podcast right now that wants to know how to make that jump and clear it nicely.
Yeah. When I was in school, I feel like I had a different mentality because I can be really, really good when I have a goal. And my goal was like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to be an optometrist when I was a student because it had been so long. So I was like single-mindedly focused on succeeding at every single path. And sometimes I didn't, sometimes I failed, but I was so distracted by that the social kind of came like naturally because it was like, we're all in this together. We're all going to be like, we were just talking about school and like I have lifelong friends from it and it just wasn't as big of an issue just because like there was always something to chat about when I was in school. So like, I guess I don't have any good advice for like the small talk aspect because there wasn't any small talk. To me, it was all like life or death.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it because I can understand that because I got game here. So when you are a student, your whole job is just to get through the exam. So there is not a lot of small talk. But I do encourage all the optometry students and new graduate students to now start to develop that small talk because it will help you become a better OD when you get out and make that transition easier. Because when we get out of school, at least when I got out of school, my whole thing was, did I do everything, right? But if I actually sat back and actually started to build better conversation from the beginning, it would have made it a little more seamless, a little more fluid. And I think the patient experience would have been better for my patients early on when I first got out of school as well, right?
Totally. But I do have a ton of advice for students. Like, Fourth year, at least start talking to your peers. Like, don't keep it a secret what you're negotiating for or what your contract looks like. Because you're starting to get jobs and everybody's a little bit confused. So just like sharing with each other what went well at interviews, what questions you ask. Because there's a point in an interview where they say, do you have any questions? And it's like, no, you covered it. It would be good if you asked, like, what are other ODs in the practice doing to be successful? Or like some good question. And like somebody at your school has asked a good question. You just got to figure out who asked it and ask them what it was.
I love that. I love that. So now we're transitioning this conversation from exam lane talk to becoming a fourth year and starting looking for opportunities to join an organization or start your practice, right? So let's kind of dive a little more into that. What are some other good questions to ask? Because the one you just mentioned, I would have never thought of. What do you have?
Because that one tells you a ton, because it's like they already have like, and even if there aren't other optometrists there, you could be like, what are you doing to be successful in an exam lane? Because they want, like, if it's another optometrist hiring you, they want another them. They wish they could clone themselves. So like if you can glean that and take that away, then you become more valuable to them. You kind of see what they value. And you can also learn, like, do I value that? Do I want to work here? You can also learn, like, are the other ODs getting their bonuses? Kind of like, what are they doing to get their bonuses?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And something else that I love, now I'm going to expand off of what you just stated, is maybe even hanging out in that office for, a day or half a day, right?
Yeah.
How are the patients interacting with the team members in the office, and how are the patients interacting with the doctor as well? Because that shows a lot of if that's somewhere that you want to be. Because the last thing you want to do is sign that dotted line and you get somewhere and you realize the culture does not align to your purpose or your core values, kind of like what you alluded to earlier as well.
Exactly right. You want to be happy and you want to know, like, before you sign up, is this a place I can be for a while? And if you take the time and you negotiate your contract, you make it what you want it to be, then you're in a really good position when you're looking for another job, because you don't have to leave your first job because you already like it.
Yeah, I love this. And for all those that are listening, Dr. Rachel Simpson, Dr. Kate Ham have an amazing podcast, Lunch Date with Rachel and Kate. And they really touch on all of these topics, right? They have small talk. They discuss a lot when it comes to the wage gap. They talk about, how to be successful when you get out of optometry school. And they just drop a lot of gems that you can really take and be able to, take it to the next level when it comes to practicing as well. And the thing that I really love about this show is typically they always are talking about something that they're going to have for lunch. They'll talk about it and expand on that a little bit. They kind of jump into it. Now I'm thinking I might need to also add a little bit of reality TV into whatever you're eating. And I think that'll be the perfect mix and blend.
That's such a good idea. I got to get Kate hooked on Sister Wives.
Absolutely. Because there's going to be a lot of ODs out there that watch that show, and that's going to be a connection, right? It's like in life, it's not just in the exam room. It's how can you make a connection with the person that's sitting in front of you? Mm-hmm. Two people will have something in common. You just got to dig and dig and dig until you find it. And when you find it, you continue to pound it out until it's to the point where you guys are best friends, right?
That's so good. I'm gonna cry. That's so good. Okay, I don't want to end this without saying the one thing that I think is so important, and I feel like this is the platform for me to say it.
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. People who do salary surveys, whether your review of optometry, Eyes on Eye Care, or ODs on Finance. ODs on Finance, guys, you did such a good salary review. Please ask your survey people, what were you paid at your first job out of optometry school? Then get rid of the residents and just tell me that information for the last 5 years so that new grads know what the starting salary is.
Oh, I love that. And I'll tell you what, my salary in comparison to what these new graduates are getting now, when I first got out of school, night and day. I'm telling you, students, new graduates, you are blessed. Stop complaining about how much you get paid, because if you knew how much I got paid when I got out of school and my 6 days of patient care, you would not even know what to do with yourselves. You are highly favored, and make sure that you thank your employer, or if you own your own practice, thank yourself. But
thank yourself.
Thank the man up above. But you guys are blessed in today's society. This is an amazing profession. We help people every day.
Such a good profession.
Gatekeepers into the healthcare system. we have the medical component, we have the retail component. It doesn't get any better than this. But I do agree. I think that would be great to see because that kind of sets the foundation and the standard of, you know, where we were at and where we're going, and it takes out some of the noise that may be there as well.
I think it's the value of social media and us just having more conversations and people being like, I make this, you make that. Then you wouldn't have started maybe at whatever you started at or what I started at or what people started at. If you know more, you can ask for a little more.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, and I tell all the students that I have conversations with is that it's supply and demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a big bag of money if there's definitely demand for more doctors there. You're not going to get a big bag of money if there's a lot of doctors that are there. And if it's in between, then you're going to get in between, right?
Yeah. So, go someplace rural and live like a king.
That's it. And I think sometimes we just have to be realistic. You can't ask for $1 million and go practice in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
No.
Or Houston, Texas. I mean, like, these are places that are saturated with optometrists. So we got to be realistic about ourselves. So in addition to those surveys, I don't know if it's a part of these, but I think there should be something with supply and demand on those charts to show that, hey, you are going to make more in this rural area here in particular. Maybe it can even be like a heat map. Do they have anything like that that's been out?
They have maps, and the maps are unbelievable. But it would be cool if it was like rural to, it would be good if it was by population.
Yeah. Ooh, see, you know what I'm hearing? I think you and Kate need to create one of these yourselves in more detail. I know you've done stuff in the past, but y'all need to take all of these different concepts and put it together for one, and then go to all the schools and educate all the students, because y'all got the jazz, y'all got the magic, y'all got the juice, y'all can make it happen.
Thank you.
So let's wrap it up. I mean, this has been fantastic. I mean, we've had amazing conversation about small talk. We have now taken the awkward OD to the supercharged OD, right? We know that we can learn from our experiences from previous jobs or life experiences and leverage those in the exam room to create better loyalty, but also produce better health outcomes, because the more we can connect with the patient, the better the health outcome will be, because they're going to trust us better. We also understand the importance of communicating amongst ourselves, especially when it comes to negotiations and things of that nature. But most importantly, we understand that there's an amazing podcast out there known as Lunch Date with Rachel and Kate that all of you guys should check out today. Make sure you go subscribe. But on a serious note, I do want to say thank you so much for tapping in with me today. And before we leave, I always like to ask all my colleagues this. When it's your time to retire your phoropter, your time to, create that legacy, what does Dr. Rachel Simpson want to be known for?
I think the thing that I'll be known for and that warms my heart the most is like people who had really bad corneas that I put in sclerals who could not see, and now they can.
Oh, nice. I love it. I thank God for doctors like you, because I'm scared of sclerals. If a soft contact lens doesn't fix it, I don't want any parts of it. And I refer to amazing folks like yourself.
Thank you
so much. I appreciate
Keep them coming.
Now, for those that may want to tap in and learn a little bit more about you, what's the best ways of contacting you?
Instagram is good. I'm Daily Pep, DAILYPEP, because I'm peppy every day.
I love it. Also check out Lunch Date with Rachel and Kate on the Defocus Media Network. Thank you so much, Rachel. This has been fantastic. For all my colleagues out there listening, thanks for your support. Stay healthy, stay positive, stay blessed. And until next time, peace.
Hey, family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.